Good afternoon. Welcome to Midday Live on TV3. My name is Wendy Lai. The headlines for this afternoon. Government seeks to streamline guidelines for foreign travels by appointees. In business, Bank of Ghana hopes to increase percentage of financial inclusion from 58% to 75% by close of 2023. And on the foreign front, at least 86 people killed in central Nigeria after violent clashes broke out between farmers and cattle herders. This is Midday Live, and before we start with our stories, as usual, we have our sports team here represented by him. Tell us what exactly this afternoon.
Yeah, so coming up this afternoon, Egypt have their final game to play at the World Cup. They have never won a World Cup game. This afternoon they take on Saudi Arabia, and they'll be hoping to win that as well. Uruguay will also take on Russia to decide who will top their group and move on to the next stage. Those teams have already qualified. Uruguay, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Egypt. They are playing a dead rubber game. And at 6 p.m. tonight, Spain will take on Morocco. Morocco are also out of the World Cup, and so they will just play their game. And then Portugal and Iran. That game has a lot of bearing because if Portugal wins, they qualify. If Iran wins, they qualify. So
lots of surprises.
Exactly. So it's all to play for in that game. So Portugal, Iran, Spain, Morocco. This afternoon, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and then Uruguay against Russia.
All right.
So
thank you so much. With immediate effect. The Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration is, however, exempted from the temporary ban. Now, the statement signed by the Chief of Staff at the Flagstaff House indicated the guidelines in respect to future foreign travels is aimed at minimizing disruption of government's domestic work, which will be communicated later. More on this, a senior political science lecturer, Professor Edward Jampo, says the president's temporary suspension on foreign travels by ministers, deputy ministers and other heads of government agencies is in the right direction. He spoke to my colleague Abu Isamoni last night on News 360.
If you have any president who is politically switched on, and any president who really is committed to helping to secure and protect the public purse would definitely put in place some of these measures to ensure that frivolous expenses incurred through a lot of travels would be curtailed. But we have to ask ourselves, why do ministers travel? That's the first question we have to ask ourselves. Why do ministers travel? Now, oftentimes, ministers and government officials travel to represent the state in international meetings, conferences, summits, and workshops. Others go out there purely on medical checkups or for medical reasons. And I know that some also fly in and out of the country to attend lectures in foreign universities. So whereas a number also of them may go out in and out of the country just purely for vacation. Now, it's important, as you may be aware, that for me to state that these travels, most of them are paid for by the state, and the cost may include airfares, hotel accommodations, per diems. That's very important to those who embark on those travels, the per diems, and then our travel allowances.
Well, what do you think today? Nong Falong has been speaking to the public about what they make of the temporary travel ban.
The president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has issued a ban on all foreign trips. Now, this ban covers ministers, deputy ministers, metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives, and all heads of government agencies. On what do you think? I want to find out what you think about this ban.
It's a good move. At least we need to stay in our country and do what we are supposed to do in our country, not traveling around and probably doing nothing. So I think it's good.
It seems they are wasting the country's money a lot. So not wasting per se, but they are doing it. They are overdoing it. So they have to minimize it small.
All members, some of them are traveling, go do their own business. I don't think what this government has been doing. So always president give order like that. It's a very good idea. So I support that idea for the president.
You know, most of our ministers and then MPs and then let's say government officials, sometimes maybe within 2-3 days they will not be in parliament. Recently, you even heard of parliament about the absentees. But I think what the president says is a good move, and I think he should. If anybody break the rule, then he should punish that person.
Now, joining me on the phone line this afternoon is Herbert Krapa, who is government spokesperson on governance and legal affairs. Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for agreeing to speak with us.
Good afternoon, Wendy, and good afternoon to our viewers.
All right, then. Now, the guidelines in respect to the foreign travels aimed at minimizing disruption to government's domestic work. Now, this is one of the reasons given. Why now?
The directive has been given to ensure that government is able to coordinate the travel arrangements of its appointees. I must be quick to add that this is not a matter that is new at all. The policy that ministers of state must first seek prior approval from the chief of staff before they can travel out is a policy that has existed for a very long time. What this directive is looking to do is to include deputy ministers, heads of agencies, MMDCEs, and that is not to say that previously this category of people also could travel without prior permission, but they would also have to go. I know, for instance, the MMDCEs would go through their regional minister, deputy ministers would go through their substantive ministers, and what have you. What this new policy is looking to do, and the guidelines will be out in the next few days, is to have a centralized, coordinated, streamlined arrangement to allow for the government to, on real-time basis, have a good understanding of where every appointee is at any material moment and what they are doing. But it is an old policy. Every minister that has traveled out to the country would have done so based on permission by the chief of staff.
All right, so for clarity's sake, the reason now is to have the new add-ons, as you've explained.
Yes, to expand the scope. And as I said, it is not as if those that are being brought on board did not seek prior approval in the past, but the channels were different. What the chief of staff is trying to do is to coordinate it so that government activities domestically is not disrupted by these travels.
Is that to say that in the past there was some bit of disruptions or domestic work was affected because of these number of travels?
That is not to say so. You see, what it is that every day government is looking to see how it can improve the mechanisms and the procedures, the processes that it uses to administer governance to the people and deliver on the mandate. We don't live in a perfect place. We're looking to make sure that we advance our processes, we advance our procedures, and we make things better every day. There's always room to improve on the methods that we use to deliver on the governance systems that we have. And this move is one of those things that government is looking at. Once the guidelines are out, and I understand that they should be out in the next couple of days, the ban will be lifted and everybody would have to comply with the guidelines that have been issued. And once you meet the prerequisites, then you can be out to travel on official duty. Government recognizes in the same vein that some appointees require external engagements and what have you to be able to further the mandates that they have been given, the positions that they have been given, so that they can deliver on the mandate that they have been given. But it is important for us to do so in a more coordinated, in a more streamlined manner, so that government business domestically is also upbeat. We are all moving at the same pace, and the Ghanaian people would be happy with our performance.
We're grateful for your time, Herbert Kwampa. He is the government spokesperson on governance and legal affairs. You're still watching Midday Live, and the Chief Executive Officer for the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan, John Kuma, says government is creating an enabling environment and entrepreneurial skills for young people to be business-minded. He's calling on educational institutions to form entrepreneurial clubs to motivate the youth and help curb the problem of unemployment. He was speaking on New Day.
The whole idea of the presidential page is to help create the entrepreneurial culture and also bring the concept of businesses and ideas among young people, so
get them to think
business, how they can translate their various business ideas into proper businesses. And His Excellency the President is committed to making Ghana an enterprise nation, where the concept of job creation, the paradigm for creating jobs in this country, will then shift from government creating jobs for students out of school to individuals believing in themselves that they can create the jobs with the support from government. So we are creating the necessary enabling environment in the entrepreneurship ecosystem in the country for young people to come out with the business ideas. We are in close partnership with the campuses, the university campuses, and now we are even looking at the secondary and junior high schools to form entrepreneurship clubs, so that the idea of creating one's own from the beginning, and then gradually we'll begin to let the young people of this country believe that if there are no jobs, we can create them, and that there's support in the ecosystem to create the jobs.
At Vumen, the Volta region residents want their century-old cemetery relocated. They argue the cemetery is close to the Volta Lake, which is their major source of drinking water.
Vumen is noted for its vibrant port business. The community derives its major source of potable water from the Volta Lake. About 50 meters from the Volta Lake is the cemetery. The news team chanced on a burial at the cemetery during its visit to the town. 90-year-old ex-military officer Togbe Atigale, one of the sub-chiefs of the town, finds the burial place disturbing, alluding to the fact that residents could easily contract diseases.
It's disturbing. We tried to have a new place far from the riverside, but we couldn't get it. As there's no remedy, you have to use the old one because there's no place for us to go.
Residents also wash and bath in the water. An alternative source of drinking water handed over to the community by Ghana Water Company more than a year ago is not in use.
There are other standing pipes which I know they are in good condition, but because of the fee, the fee that is being charged, that is why I believe most people don't patronize it and they thought they should go their traditional way.
At Vumen, land belongs to families who opinion leaders say are unwilling to release.
Away from that story, today is the final day for the artisans at the Art Center in Accra to relocate to a new place that has been prepared for them at Kalkudi. The artisans have been asked to move to enable government undertake its Marine Drive project. Bright Ado is our reporter and is currently at the Art Center, and he joins us live.
This is where the consultant for the Marine Drive project has started its demolition work. They are trying to demolish some structures here, trying to move squatters from this piece of land. You can see behind me the bulldozer, and a couple of minutes ago we had some tipper trucks moving in and out of this place, trying to collect the debris. There are a lot of people also here, the squatters and the occupants of the rooms. They are trying to salvage every little thing that you can think of, from mattresses to buckets, cooking utensils, and everything. I have with me here the consultant, or somebody from the Marine Drive project. Sir, you are a member of the Marine Drive project secretariat.
Yes, I am.
All right. Tell me, at what point did you start this, and what did you give the people notices before evicting them from this piece of land? Tell me. Yes, you are live. You are live on TV3. Speak to me.
Okay, thank you. Yes, my name is Herbert Akaineti.
Please look into the camera here.
My name is Herbert Akaineti. I am the Assistant Community Liaison Officer for the Marine Drive project. Now, talking about the eviction, we started engaging them over 2 years ago, and it's been on and off. But currently, for the past 8 months, we tried as much as possible. The Ministry of Tourism,
yes,
and its allied agencies, GTA and others, the Marine Drive project unit, we have engaged the squatters for more than 8 times. We met them and agreed with them that they have to leave the place for the Marine Drive to take off. They tried to explain their point that they wanted time, they wanted compensation. We have gone past through all that. We agreed with them that government owes them no compensation. But from a human point of view, we are going to attach a human face and get them facilitation to move out of the place, which we have done. We tried as much as possible. We gave each household 800 Ghana cedis per head for them to move out. We gave them a period of 2 weeks to move out after the payment. But because of the sandal, which was supposed to have fallen on a Thursday that passed, but because of the sandal, their revere chief, Siriki, came in to plead on their behalf that we should give them up to the weekend that passed. So we told them that effectively today, the demolition is taking off. And that's exactly what we are doing.
Oh, okay, so it looks like the people are not pleased with the amount that you have quoted. You said 800 Ghana cedis. Already people are peeved. Is it acceptable?
Like I said.
How many people are we talking about? How many people did you compensate?
Like I said to you, we have squatters here. And they have we counted about 148 stores. Okay. And we have people living in it. We have 4, 5, 6 people living in it. And we paid each 800 Ghana cedis. As like I said, we are not compensating anybody. We are only facilitating their movement out of the place. So we attach a human face. That's why we gave them that money. We don't owe them no money. Okay? Now, like I said, we have given them much notice for them to move out. But because of the one that you are seeing around, as at last week Wednesday, about 80% have moved out. The few that you are seeing them clearing their things now are the people who feel they can still stay here. We come in to talk to them and we go away. So they thought they can boost their way through. But the point is, the Marine Drive is taking off now.
Taking off. Yes. All right, we are grateful for your time. So this is a member of the Marine Drive Secretariat speaking to us about compensation. And just a bit of a background before we wrap up. The art center, that's where the traders are. They are trying to move the traders from the art center to this place so that the Marine Drive project can take off smoothly at the art center. The Marine Drive project is a 10-year project, and as we speak, work has not started yet. And so until they move the squatters from this place and relocate the traders from the art center to this site, that project cannot take off.
All right, so that was Bright Ado, who'll bring us some more in subsequent bulletins. You're still watching Midday Live. Next, we have MTN video reports and Ray Joshua Emeka reports on an uncompleted classroom block at Amuli in the Volta region.
This is the 3-unit classroom blocks that was started about 5 years ago for the basic school in Amuli. The building has left uncompleted. This is where they are at the moment. The teachers are under the sun teaching during classes. We pleading to the public to come in and help 4 students into a desk. This is the only completed classroom block. This block was started year 2000 and then completed in 2006. This is the headmaster's bungalow. There is no electricity. Look at the headmaster's toilet. I'm Raymond, reporting from Amule in the Volta region of Ghana.
Also send your video via WhatsApp platform on 055 143 3044 055 143 3044. This is Midday Live. Thanks for staying. Media General and MTN have presented 28,000 cedis to the National Cardiothoracic Center at the Kolubu Teaching Hospital for 2 hole in heart patients to undergo corrective surgery. This donation is under the Think Heart Save a Child initiative.
Both David Garte and James Tetefio are 2 years and have been diagnosed of hole in heart. Their parents' financial status would not enable their children undergo surgery. They are beneficiaries of the Think Heart Save a Child initiative. Mercy Aqua, mother of David Garte, a trader, says the intervention is timely.
Midday NG and MTN for us power the
I'm very happy for this support. May God bless MG and MTN for this kind gesture. I am grateful.
Mother of James Tetefio, Elizabeth Ankoma, who is a hairdresser but unable to work due to her son's condition, also thanked Media General and MTN for the support.
MTN for any TV3 for us to say, I
thank MTN and TV3 for coming to our aid. I appreciate the support.
Pediatric cardiologist Dr. Nana Echan Yao commended Media General and MTN for ensuring these children have normal lives.
The most challenging things in life is to have a sick child, and more challenging is when you don't know where to go for help and what to do in terms of assisting the child to get better. We are very grateful that the 3 Foundation and MTN Foundation have come to the aid of these children.
Richard Ahiagbele is the group head of corporate affairs of Media General.
I'm quite happy that the 3 Foundation, together with the MTN Foundation, have been able to raise enough funds to ensure that James and David will have their surgeries as soon as possible. We are also using this opportunity to appeal to all well-meaning Ghanaians out there, companies and organizations that would want to come on board to support this cause. The door is always open.
Think Heart Save a Child initiative of the MTN Ghana Foundation and 3 Foundation of the Media General is aimed at providing financial support for hole in heart children.
Next, we have business. The head of payment system at the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Seto Amediku, says the central bank wants to further deepen financial inclusion. The central bank hopes to increase the percentage of financial inclusion in the country from 58% as of the end of 2017 to 75% by the close of 2023.
With the increasing demand of consumer convenience through digitization of banks, the Bank of Ghana is seeking to leverage on the potentials of digital banking to include more people in the financial system to make the monetary policies that are undertaken by BOG more effective. However, this calls for specified regulations to supervise the operation of payment service providers to ensure that there is an orderly development of the ecosystem. Dr. Amediku said passing the Payment System and Services Bill into an act would regulate the financial environment for discipline, which would ensure the stability of the financial system. The Bank of Ghana in 2003 promulgated a Payment System Act which was to help develop the payment system in the country. But the bank was so focused on infrastructure such as creating the Ghana Interbank Payments and Settlement System, whose core mandate was to implement and manage interoperable payment systems infrastructure for banks and non-bank financial institutions. Dr. Amedeku said the passage of the bill would also allow the Bank of Ghana to license payment service providers and fintechs when the bank is satisfied that applicants had met the licensing criteria as stipulated in the Act.
A United Nations report indicates millions of people in Ghana are not benefiting from the country's booming economy but remain in poverty. Now, there is more in the following report.
An investigator, Philip Alston, says Ghana is the fastest growing economy in Africa and one of the 3 fastest growing economies in the whole world. He says this success is making the rich richer, while a high proportion of the population continues to live in poverty. He says the poor are losing out amidst the country's growing wealth because Ghana spends 50% less than its peer countries in Africa on social protection. According to him, most of the country's resources are being plowed into private investment projects designed to make the wealthy better off. Statistics show 1 in 5 Ghanaians live in poverty and 1 in 8 live in extreme poverty. Alston says he finds it particularly troubling that 28% of children live in poverty.
The Ministry of Hydrocarbons for the Republic of Congo has announced that the country has become the 15th member of the Organization for the Petroleum Exporting Countries. The country's membership was concluded during the 174th Ordinary Meeting of OPEC.
Membership in OPEC now gives the Republic of Congo a voice in a powerful organization committed to balancing the global economy and maintaining a secure and dependable supply of petroleum to consumers. OPEC is responsible for about 40% of the world's oil production and more than 80% of established oil reserves. The Minister of Hydrocarbons, Tester Chikaya, said they were happy to cooperate with the world's oil leaders. In 2017, the Republic of Congo was among 11 member countries that joined OPEC in a historic production cut of 1.8 million barrels of oil per day.
Some more business stories, and more than 100 companies in the Ashanti region have enrolled onto the database of the Public Procurement Authority. The new database is to ensure higher levels of information, publicity and transparency in public procurement. Here's a report by Benjamin Edu.
Procurement Authority unveiled the Public Procurement Database Registration Portal. Contractors, suppliers and consultants interested in government tender must, as a matter of law, register with valid documents as per supplier qualification requirements. The system, according to the authority, will open up opportunities to service providers. Suppliers will also be relieved of the burden of multiple registrations at various procuring entities.
You have a supplier who have registered with about 3 or 4 or 5 institutions, but now we are saying that register one with PPE. So once you have access to the internet, you can go and do your own registration, and it is very simple. We verify them. Once we verify and realize that it is a credible firm, we give you a certificate which is renewable after every year.
The Northern Sector Coordinator of PPA, George Osepoku, expressed satisfaction with the response and patronage by contractors, suppliers and consultants in the Ashanti region. He encouraged institutions to engage procurement officers in their operations.
And that's all for business. We look at some more stories, and the lack of ambulances in health facilities in the Bongo district of the Upper East region is hampering smooth healthcare delivery. Facilities have to rely on motorkings to transfer patients on referrals. Now, this is a huge disadvantage to saving lives. District health authorities say ambulances are critically needed to improve healthcare in a district with very poor roads.
Time. That is what the easiest or the best we can do. Except that sometimes when the condition, especially with the pregnant women, is such that it will not be very convenient, and when it is deep in the night, these motorkings too have been, had some attacks.
It is a difficult situation. Health facilities don't have proper ambulances. This therefore comes in handy. Untarred and dusty roads, broken culverts, and facilities in hard-to-reach areas. This means chip zones and health centers rely on these. It is a savior.
That tricycle has saved some lives that maybe would have been lost. I wouldn't say it is not good, but we need something better than that. There was a case here. That day was a market day. There was no taxi in this town. We called the district. The driver was ill. The hospital, their car was broken down. The woman was lying here bleeding. What could we have done? And it is that tricycle. When the guys parked the motor and the motor sparked, 2 nurses had to be in that motorbike, plus the driver, the motor rider riding. Then I was following behind with the motorbike. I didn't even know the lady would survive by his grace. With the help of doctor. When we called, he took his car. 10 minutes he was there. The blood bank, everybody was up and doing, and they were set. They were even ready waiting for us to bring the patient. And when we got there, they took the patient in, and by his grace, the lady survived.
And she will never forget, because in times of difficulty, the tricycle saves lives. But healthcare givers are left worse off using these to save lives.
The facility has been without ambulance for the past 30 to about 8 years. UNICEF, Danida, and those canal have supplied the district with tricycles some time ago, which also have been used as a support form of ambulances to transport patients from the sub-districts to the hospital. Using the tricycles, there's no problem, but quite a number of the referrals happens in the night, and there have been several occasions that they are robbed on the way.
The district has 3 pickups used as ambulances. This is inadequate. The district has 6 sub-districts. District authorities say equipping the district with ambulances will save lives.
When it is deep in the night and depending on the patient's condition, we have the pickups around. The district has 3 pickups, which are always around, fuel ready for any emergency. If we can get an ambulance, a proper ambulance for every sub-district, then that would have saved us a lot of trouble.
Ambulances are a key component of the healthcare delivery. With support from some non-governmental organizations, these motorkings have been distributed to health facilities to support healthcare.
You're still watching Midday Live. Remember, you can get interactive. Send your comments on our social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter. There's news on TV, so we have more shortly. Let's get some international news now, and at least 86 people have died in central Nigeria after violent clashes broke out between farmers and cattle herders. Some reports say fighting began on Thursday when ethnic Birom fighters attacked Fulani herders, killing 5 of them. The attack on Saturday led to more deaths. The area has decades-long history of violence between ethnic groups competing for land. A curfew has now been imposed on 3 parts of Plateau State. A state police commissioner, Andy Addy, said a research of villages following the bloodshed revealed that 86 people had been killed and 6 injured. He said 50 houses had been burned, as well as 15 motorbikes and 2 vehicles. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has won a new 5-year term after securing outright victory in the first round of a presidential poll. Erdogan got nearly 53% with almost all votes counted. His closest rival, Moran Ince, was on 31%. Erdogan will now assume sweeping new powers won in a controversial referendum last year. The post of PM will be abolished. The opposition is yet to officially concede, but said it would continue its democratic fight, whatever the results. It had earlier cast doubts on results being broadcast by state media. Final results will be announced on Friday. The polls were the most fiercely fought in many years. Erdogan has presided over a strong economy and built up a solid support base by investing in healthcare, education and infrastructure. But the 64-year-old has also polarized opinion, cracking down on opponents and putting some 160,000 people in jail. Next, we have entertainment. And on a rather sad note, popular Nigerian singer D'banj has lost his 13-month-old son, Daniel Oyebanjo. D'banj's son is reported to have drowned in a pool at the singer's residence in Lagos on Sunday afternoon. D'banj, who was in the States for the 18th BET Awards, posted a black image on his Instagram page with a caption, "Trying times, but my God is always and forever faithful."
D'banj and his wife, Didilenio, welcomed their son, named after D'banj himself, Daniel Oyebanjo, in May 2017. Daniel, aged 1, is reported to have drowned on Sunday afternoon at the singer's residence in Okoyi, Lagos. D'banj was in Los Angeles for the 18th BET Awards at the time of the incident. The news was gathered after the entertainer took to Instagram page to post a black image with a caption, "Trying times, but my God is always and forever faithful." Reacting to the news, D'banj's former boss and label mate Don Jazzy wrote, "Just heard the worst news in a long time." Runtown tweeted, "Sad day today, prayers up for my brother D'banj and his family." The remains of the child has been moved to the morgue.
Now to other entertainment stories. Singer Miss V, aka Natural Girl, turned 26 on June 23. The Come and See My Mother composer was tricked to believe she is a guest at the launch of a champagne brand, NG26.
And we're celebrating the launch of NG26, the bubbly sparkle. And we're going to have some great music.
CEO of Links Entertainment, Richie Mensah, and artist manager Kiki Banson were the masterminders. The bubbly singer, Miss V, was ushered into the venue, having no clue it was her own birthday party. She met similar faces. Time to introduce brand ambassadors for the NG26 champagne.
Please welcome the unmistakable, delectable songstress, EFYA Adina, Miss V.
Then it was time to unveil the champagne.
For the brand ambassadors of NG26. Hey, where's the champagne? We said the young thing and said, what is it? And was it because it was too fast?
MG26 turned out to be Natural Girl at 26. Patrons had a good time with birthday girl Miss V after that sweet prank.
Especially for you, Miss V. Happy birthday! And 26 is the number. Put your hands together.
Richie says, Eugene, Kiddy, Vera, get ready. You have an event to be at on Saturday. It's for a champagne called NG26. Because I'm 26 and it just happens to be NG26. I'm like, okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Let's do some more stories. And well, South African recording artist beat Ghanaian rapper Kwesi Arthur and 8 others to win the 2018 BET Viewers' Choice New Best International Act category.
Ghanaian rapper Kwesi Arthur lost out to South African hip-hop artist Java at the 18th edition of Black Entertainment Awards BET Viewers' Choice Best New International Act category. In a tweet, the Grind Day hitmaker reacted to news of him losing out to Java. He tweeted, "How can I lose when I came from nothing?" The flag of Africa still flies high as Nigerian's Afro-pop artist Davido beats the likes of Tiwa Savage, Jaju and others to win the Best International Act Award category.
Davido, Nigeria!
And ladies who go into male-dominated professions face a variety of challenges. A common challenge is male clients making advances at them. 21-year-old music video director Silla Oso has opened up on how she deals with such issues.
Stand opportunities come. And if for some reason you can't make it to the phone,
after 3 years of producing and directing music videos, Silla Oso has made many acquaintances. Silla's job brings her closer to top musicians, dancers, models, artist managers and the like.
And there's been many times where I've tried to work with certain people. You know how people can be a bit sly and they feel like, oh, come and meet me, let's meet out to have a meeting, and it's just like, really and truly, we're not going to have a meeting, are we?
The fast rising director has had her own share of male clients making advances at ladies in their line of duty.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where I could be on set and whether that be the artist or someone in their team or a dancer or a model will try and flirt and just be annoying. When I first started, I used to get a lot of, hey, I want to marry you and stuff like that.
The 21-year-old described herself as a woman of morals and self-respect.
Me, I have an affair, never in my life. I'm a girl, a woman of morals and self-respect, so I will never lower my standards to...
According to Silla, she's always played her cards right. How has Silla survived such experiences?
My mum always told me that you can't control how people treat you, but you can only control how you react to them. So as long as at the end of the day I keep myself to myself and I remain polite and professional, regardless of what they're saying, whether it's hey baby, hey I want to take you to Nigeria, all of that kind of stuff, as long as I ignore it and kind of do my job, they eventually just stop. It does not matter who the artist is, what the job is, I will never compromise and lower my standards to favour somebody else's needs.
And that'll be all for this afternoon. A recap of our top stories. And government seeks to streamline guidelines for foreign travels by appointees. And Business Bank of Ghana hopes to increase percentage of financial inclusion from 58% to 75% by close of 2023. And on the fine front, at least 86 people killed in central Nigeria after clashes broke out between farmers and cattle herders.